you know goldenrod makes an excellent tea?
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Aaron.
Me. You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tomic's veteran of the comic book industry for 30 years. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and this sucks.
Tonight's episode, Before I Die.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
She cooks nothing but chuck wagons, stew, and her name is Minerva. Ouch! She's the flower of the devoured goats.
Hey, here I am, and we are live. It is Aaron Live, and I am Aaron. Shelley Showtime won't be joining us today, but there's always hope. Hope that next week will be the week where Shelley makes her big comeback. But anyways, you're going to have to live with just me, but I do have quite a show planned for you. It just amazes me as I was sitting here last minute scrambling, as I somehow always seem to be doing. I spend 2 to 3 hours prepping for this show. I know that's hard to believe, but it's true. And yet every time I go live, I feel like I'm completely unprepared. So does this hat look brown to you? Because it's gray. And that's why I'm wearing it. I do have a brown one, but I'm wearing the gray one and yet it looks brown. Would the brown one look gray, do you think? I don't know. Anyway, welcome everybody. We are, what's today? Sunday. We are 2 days away from Halloween, which means a bunch of neighborhood kids will be attacking my porch for free candy. I have not bought any candy yet. I always wait till the last minute because if I buy it early, then Shelley and I end up eating it, and then I have to buy candy again. So this way, I'll just save it for the kids, let them get tooth decay and overly sugared, and save me and Shelley from a fate worse than death, which is too much chocolate. Although I don't really know if that is a fate worse than death. Anyway, let's take a look and see who's joining us today in the chat. Mark Pengren is here. He says, I backed both of your gentlemen's projects yesterday. Thank you, Mark. Of course, he's referring to von KLAUS, who's going to be joining us on Creator's Corner today. Every once in a while, I do a Creator's Corner. I bring it back, and I have to be sort of organized and prepared, which, of course, I never am. So that's why you don't see a lot of guests on this show or even on Graybeards like there should be, because I'm the one who has to remember to book all these guys. And I just get busy during the week and I forget. And suddenly it's time to do the show. And I'm like, oh, another week with no guest. So, but this time, Vaughn and I were commiserating a little bit about our shadow banning issues. And he said, yeah, I'd like to come on your show. And I'm like, all right, I'll bring you on for 5 minutes. No, it'll be longer than that. But anyway, so Creator's Corner will be returning today. Will it be here next week? Okay, so let's see. Repairman Jack is here. He says, ahoy, Aaron. Tell Shelly hi from me. She's such a sweetheart. Indeed, she is. I will tell her that. Thank you. Halder 6480 is here on the steadfast Randy Howell all the way from Canada. Gina Carano rocks. Aaron is okay too. Not really sure what that is in reference to, but yeah, I do like Gina. Never met her though. Bill Maxwell is here. Hojo is here. Stippling Vaughn. Aaron has been nominated in 3 categories for this year's Nobody Gives a Damn Awards. A nomination show part 2 is next Saturday on the chat. So vote early and vote often for me. I don't even know what I've been nominated for. Oh, actually, that's not true. I did see those things posted on Twitter today. Best artist, best older gentleman, and best really older gentleman. So I'm hoping to at least win one of those. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Marcus Killigrew, of course, the purveyor of all things pop culture knowledge, is here. Hail, all driving back from South Carolina Con Jr. and hanging out with Andy Dennis and Bud Root. How about that? Dan, the pizza man Genovese, is here. He's actually eating pizza on Graham's movie stream where we watched City of the Dead or something like that with Peter Cushing. It was actually pretty decent for a crappy old 1960s black and white horror film. Agent for Heretic says Von Klaus. Von Klaus? Oh, hey, Aaron, I guess. I don't have any idea what that means. Citizen Ronan is here. The Geek Easy is here. Go Steelers. Unfamiliar with how Pittsburgh's doing today. I've been watching any football, been prepping for this very show. I spend all day Saturday watching college football, so then I can't justify spending all day Sunday watching pro football. So I just sort of keep track of pro football in the periphery. The periphery. That's a nice word. I like that. Let's see here. Marcus Killigrew says it's his birthday. Well, happy birthday, Marcus. That's pretty cool. I have no idea how old you are. Maybe you might want to share that. Maybe you don't want to share that. I don't know. James GSR is here. Let's see. Ferris Comics is here. Fox Mulder. He's no longer just Fox Mulder. He's Fox Mulder 31014. Pretty much associate the Wild Wild West TV theme with Aaron now, as well you should. I'm a regular Jim West without the hair. Let's see here. James GSR says, no, Shelly, I'm out. Wow. Well, let me help you out the door. There you go. That'll speed up your trip. The hat looks brown. Your beard looks gray. Well, the color's right here. We know that. Aaron is more prepared than the Jack Show. I couldn't speak to that, but I am prepared. I just don't feel prepared. Marcus, you're only a year behind me. Okay. That means, well, I won't, and you just have to guess that. Birdman Burr is here. Tarks9 all the way from Canada as well. Herman P. Hunter's The Lore Forge. Evil One is showing up. Let's see. Gunshot Residue. No. Okay. So here we are. Once again, Sunday afternoon. And I had a steak last night. In fact, I actually took out too many steaks because we had like top sirloins. We bought like a quarter of a cow, I don't know, a year ago or something. And so they wrap all this stuff in paper, like the butcher paper, and then they label it. And so it said top sirloin and steaks. I went, okay, I'll have one of those. And I grabbed a package, and it was fairly thick, but not ridiculously thick. And I thought, is there 1 or 2 in here? So I took out 2, and there ended up being 2 in each. And then, so we had steaks 2 nights in a row. So I had steak last night. And I can't remember what the moral of this story is, except I had steak. And, I know what it was. Steak is surprisingly, this is going to sound really dumb, but I don't really find it that filling. I wonder if it's because I'm so used to eating carbohydrates that when I just have like a meat dinner or meal, it doesn't feel the same. I don't know. Randy House saying, stop complaining about steak. Well, I'm not complaining about steak. I'm just saying that after I eat a steak, should I still be hungry? And yet, for some reason, I am. And the great thing about being hungry on this show is that we address that need almost immediately.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Does your store have these little pies for $1.69? Because mine does. And I know Ethan's like a big pie guy, but so am I. Now, I'm not going to eat this whole thing because that would be grotesque, but I'm going to eat a bite of it, and it is cherry pie. If I had to choose in a very close race, it would be blackberry number 1, cherry number 2, and apple number 3. But so close. Would never turn down any of those choices. Now, I would like to ask all of you, before we really get into the meat, pardon the expression, of today's show, to take a moment and support this channel by liking and subscribing. And I've even prepared a public services announcement to help you. And it really sort of really fits well with the Halloween season that we're in right now. Yeah. So we're on the road to 4,000 subs. That's the goal by the end of the year. We're 3,100 and something or other. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. Go team, go. Okay. So the first thing we do, generally speaking, and I am of course speaking in general terms, is we like to take a look at our Frazetta image of the day, and I don't see any reason to delay in that. So let's go ahead and take a look at our very special Frazetta image of the day. Mastermind of Mars. Now, I did a commission similar to that. I mean, similar in the sense that that bald guy with the goggles was in it. And of course, I based his design on that drawing we just looked at. That, of course, was another black and white spot illustration that Frazetta did for the Doubleday book series of the John Carter of Mars collected works. There's 4 of them in hardcover. 4, that's 8. 4 of them in hardcover. And that appeared to be pen and ink with some ink wash brushed in. Now, he may have used the brush for some of the outlining, but it kind of looks like pen to me, and then kind of went in and put a little ink wash in with the brush. A really nice piece. And I did something similar, big. It was more like a double-page spread sort of commission based on the Mastermind of Mars, which the guy who commissioned me to do it, that was his favorite John Carter novel or book. I don't know, you'd call them novels, but I had to reread the book because I hadn't read it in ages since I was a kid. This was probably 10 years ago that I did this, but it doesn't, John Carter's not in it. It's another guy. And it's funny because of this guy that he's a big John Carter fan, the guy that I did the commission for. This is like his favorite book, and mine, it's like one of my least favorite. It was interesting, you know, but it wasn't quite the grand adventure that I prefer to experience when reading a John Carter novel. So let's see that Herman P. Hunter is saying Aaron has gone full EVS with a pie thing. Well, not really, because my pies are tiny. Ethan goes full pie, you know. Sequential treasures. Aaron now has a smile on his face, 10 miles wide, sweet cherry pie. Okay, what about mincemeat pie? Geek Easy. Here's the thing. There's real mincemeat pie, you know, like old school, old England mincemeat pie that is basically meat in the pie. And then there's kind of like fakey or faux mincemeat pie, which is really raisins and apples and spices. And I really like that. People are grossed out and they say, raisin pie, are you kidding me? I like it. And the raisin mincemeat pie has got raisins in it, but then it's got cut up apples in it. Like I said, cinnamon, it's got other spices like nutmeg and things in there. And I really like that. I don't know that I've ever had any traditional, authentic, old school mincemeat pie. Randy Hell says pecan pie. Yes, I like pecan pie. I'll eat that. It probably wouldn't make my top 10. But when you're talking about pie, does it really matter? Tarks9 says, yes, I have a small apple pie. I had a cherry yesterday. So Tarks9 apparently likes pie more than I do. And let's see here. I don't know about this. The small, no sugar added pies aren't bad. Plus I have the little aluminum pie pans for mixing paint. Ooh, I'd never thought of using that. That's a good idea. Repairman Jack says, I've been waiting for EVS to stream, and now he's going against you, and I have to watch you instead. I appreciate that. I'll tell you, man, Ethan's he's a streaming machine, and you just never know when he's going to fire up a stream. Who knows? He may start EFAPing me. So I'll try not to say anything offensive. And anyway, if you're watching Ethan, that's fine. You can watch me in reruns. That's, that's the beauty of YouTube TV. This is a sequential treasure says, guess we'll see no Nosferatu this year since Shelley isn't her, huh? Probably not. Yeah, I guess this would have been the Halloween show, right? Where I should have wore a costume. Yeah. Maybe next year. We really went all out last year. I did the Nosferatu thing, and Shelley did the vampire girl, and she had blood running down her neck, and But I don't know, man. My life is for a guy whose kids are away and out of the house essentially, and I shouldn't have anything complicating my life. My life is so busy right now. Maybe it has to do with self-publishing and promoting and all that other stuff, but it's just like, wow, I've never been more busy than I am right now. And I even totally forgot. I was like, wait a minute, is Halloween around the corner here? Oh, so am I supposed to be wearing a costume? Oh, Phil, too late. More guy thong. I don't even like the sound of that. Pumpkin pie season. Yes. Lord Hinson says, I love me some Jamaican meat pie. I have never had that, but I would guess with the spices and stuff might actually be pretty good. Chocolate pie with whipped cream. I'm down with that. Geeky says the one you were talking about, love it. I was talking about both versions of mincemeat pies. So, Herman P. Hunter says, I actually make pumpkin pie from pumpkins. That's what a novel concept. That's right. I'm a regular. That's what I tried to do is I tried to establish in this whole big CG TV universe that I am streaming at 4 o'clock. In fact, here's the thing. I used to stream. If you guys remember, this show used to be at 5 o'clock. And then because then Ethan started streaming over the top of me and Shane started coming in, I moved it down to 4. So I figured, well, maybe I can get an hour before those guys jump in. And now they're moving it back an hour and still crushing me. Someday I'll get my revenge. But yeah, so I established myself in this Sunday time slot because the only reason I did it was because no one else was streaming on Sundays. And now, what are you going to do? Quoth the Raven says, hello, steak, baked beans, corn, and French bread for dinner tonight. Judas Priest. That's nice. Last week was barbecue brisket. When I couldn't make it, you said you were going to dream about what it was I was cooking last week. Yes. So good. Randy Howell says, no, wait a minute. EVS is not streaming. He just released it. He's not streaming. He just released a Gina Carano video. Oh, okay. So you can go watch the Gina Carano video, then come back over here. Let's see here. Citizen Ronan says, you aren't in costume? There we go. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, the second with raisins. It's killer, man. I made it one year. No one in the house would eat it. So I ate the whole pie myself. Not at once, of course, but over the course of several days, it was like my pie because no one would eat it. And I did. Okay, Evil Ones, he's ragging on my costume. Lame costume tonight. I'm a newsie. I know the difference in a video live stream. I hope so. Okay, now they're saying no. He just did he's just okay. So whatever. So I know my numbers are going to be low because Ethan is streaming. That's the way it goes. He's got the power. I do not. Evil One for $5 says Frightmare sucks. Such a lame trauma flick, man. Why did I watch it? Night of the Creeps is much better. I give Frightmare 3 out of 5. Happy Halloween. You know what I went and saw last night? I went and saw Werewolf of London at a local theater here with Henry Hole. I actually posted on Twitter, it was 1931. It's actually 1935. And it's my favorite. I don't know if it's my favorite werewolf movie, but it's my favorite werewolf makeup. Although I really like Oliver Reed and Curse of the Werewolf too. I'm not a big fan, even though I'm Franklin Pierce, the makeup artist, who did all the great makeup for Karloff in The Mummy, Frankenstein. He also did the werewolf. But I don't like Chaney as the werewolf. I just never have. I never liked him as an actor particularly. But I think that movie's probably the best werewolf movie, The Wolfman, 1941. But Werewolf of London is my favorite looking werewolf, and so take that for what it's worth. But apparently Frightmare sucks. And Evil One says if it sucks, he still gave it a 3 out of 5, which means that's average, right? Like 4 would be good, 5 would be great, 3 would be average, 2 would be, I don't know, what's the difference between bad and sucks? Is one, I think sucks is like 1 star, right? Bad is 2 stars. I don't know. Greg Smith II says, Aaron, how are you today? Dinner for tonight on my end was something simple. 2 bratwurst with fries. I'm also a sweet potato guy and one time made some from scratch. I assume you mean sweet potato pie guy. And one time made some from scratch. I don't know that I've ever had sweet potato pie. I don't think I have. I've had sweet potato fries and sweet potato tater tots. Those I really like because the sweet potato fries, it's hard to get them crispy on the outside. It's a very, very soft potato, or it's soft, whatever sweet potato actually is. I think it's more of a turnip thing than it is actually a potato. But they do seem to, when I got them in tater tots, they were very crispy on the outside and then very mushy on the inside, as they tend to be. But I've never had the sweet potato pie. Interesting. Evil One is, I've ticked off the Evil One. Don't question my rating scale, Aaron. Okay. All right. I want to know what a 1 out of 5 is. If 3 out of 5 sucks, what's a 1? Doc Blaylock is here. Craig Smith is pushing it hard. He's saying, try it. You will love it. Of course, he's talking about the sweet potato pie. Eric Guapo says, my dinner was also simple today. It was nothing with a side of loneliness. Okay, that was pretty good. Okay. All right. So where are we at here? I think Von KLAUS will be in here in a few minutes. Doc Blaylock says sweet potato pie is a Southern staple. We have it at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Well, yeah, right. It's a Southern staple. I am a Northerner, Northwesterner. Haven't really experienced. I've been to New Orleans once. Food was fantastic. Lived in Florida for 3 years, and the only thing I really discovered in Florida that was different than what I'd had anyplace else was key lime pie is like everywhere in Florida. Rodney Ulibarri's here. Hey, Rodney, thanks for joining us. Says, my dinner is Pasoli hominy. Wow. I never had Pasoli. I don't think I've ever had hominy either. Okay. The Hands of Fate is a 1 out of 5. Okay, but how would you describe it, though? If a 3 out of 5 is a movie that you would describe by saying it sucks, how would you classify a 1? What would be your adjective, I guess, to describe that film? Beyond suckage? Let's see here. Rodney, it's going to snow here. Aren't you in New Mexico or someplace? Or am I just dreaming that? You're going to get snow? Well, I guess it snows there in New Mexico, right? There's a lot of high elevations. Is Portland still in America? Yeah, they legally they are, but in terms of the politics and what goes on here, I wouldn't. I don't feel too comfortable that I'm getting a fair shake in the as far as defined by the Constitution. All right, there he is. I've stalled long enough. It's time to move on to our second segment of the show, because Frazetta for the day is our first segment. Our second segment, of course, is the return of Creator's Corner. So let me run this little promo and we'll bring in our guest. He's the Vonster. There he is. He's Von Klaus. He goes by many names. Welcome him in. There he is. Hey, how's it going, man?
Hey, it is. It's a beautiful, dark, and stormy October evening. It's nice and creepy out there, so I'm happy. I'm enjoying it. How are you doing?
I'm good. Did you like that cool jazz intro I had?
Yeah, I did. I felt I was there in the 70s. There was crocheting. It was perfect. I liked it. It relaxed me for the interview ahead, you know?
All right. So I have brought back, which I do occasionally. I told you this, on Twitter. I do this thing called Creator's Corner, where I bring in guys, talk about their campaigns for, about 30 minutes or so. And so let's get into that. But first, let me ask you, I first saw, I think it was it Monster MD? What was the name of that one?
Yes. Okay. The first book I did,
and
crowdfunded.
This artwork's pretty cool. And and then I want to say, I thought Shelley backed your Black Terror book. That was Terror in the Trenches. I don't know if we did or not, but I've got so many unread books at this point that I'm not sure. So
I swear I'm in there somewhere. I feel like I am. I thought I saw your name when I was doing labels. So let's hope so.
Someplace.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I've got I got Roquefort's books sitting there that I haven't read yet. I got a stack.
You got a stack. I understand. I too have a stack.
Cool. It looked cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
So how did you get involved in this? In making your own comics and getting in the indie scene? Give me a little background on the Vonster, if you would.
Sure, man. I'm the guy who loves comics with all my heart, and I've been making them since I was about 8 years old. But I tried to do everything else in life first before I just finally said, screw it, let's make a comic, let's crowdfund it. So I tried being a bouncer. I tried being a whole lot of things. I started medical school. I was going to go be a doctor. I was going to actually become a forensic pathologist and bust bad guys through corpses and stuff. And then I was like, dude, I can't do that. I'd get depressed, Anyway, I tried it all. I managed a tea house for a little bit. I've done it all. And I was like, all right, always making comics while I was doing everything else. While I went to school and studied directing and screenwriting, I was making comics every time. So finally, at some point, I think it was around after, I started to notice Marvel and DC were going woke more and more and more, and it was getting nastier. And I started finding YouTubers criticizing it who has some great messaging on it. Before I knew it, I was forming these relationships with people on Twitter, and we were kind of rebelling against this, like what we saw as, political discrimination and woke politics ruining storytelling across mainstream comics. And they called us Comicsgate as a joke, and we said, cool by us, we'll take that moniker. Before I knew it, I'm in a group called Comicsgate now. And instead of hiding my comics, you know what I mean? Because think about it, I've been making them since I was 8, and it's been decades and decades of making them, but I've never done anything with them, never published them, never really thought I'd go anywhere with them. It was just something I loved. But and then I had Monica, my artist on Monster MD, say, "Yeah, I could do this story with you," and I thought we could have a hit. We could market this as something that people actually will want, that isn't woke, that is fun and brings back good storytelling. And what can I say? It was a hit. We made over 100K, and here I am, man, hanging with you now.
Wow. Well, no, it's cool. It's always interesting. Everybody has a different story, and it's like, it's one of those things. I think it's kind of like the movie industry that everybody has a different way they broke in, right? There's no set structure, it's just things happen in certain ways, and you get lucky sometimes, or you make your own luck. Okay. So, and forgive my ignorance for saying this, but I've always been like this. I never kept up, even when I was working in the mainstream, of what was going on, and who was doing what. So, so you're basically creating these concepts, and you're the writer then.
Yes.
So you okay. Because I was going to say that the stylistic changes I'm seeing on your different projects, I find really interesting. I'm like, he's certainly not drawing all of these in different styles, but now that explains it. Okay, so so I really liked that sort of. I hate to say cartoony because it sounds insulting, but I don't mean it to be.
Right, I understand.
Nation influenced look for your Monster MD book. And then you go and you do something that's completely different looking with the Black Terror and Terror in the Trenches. And now you're essentially doing what looks to be sort of a manga-influenced book in Kitaru Witch Hunter.
Right. This is me. This is what I like. Ever since I picked up that Batman animated book and studied all the great character designs that went into the making of Batman animated series as a kid.
You're talking about the hardcover, right? The hardcover, that Batman animated hardcover that has all the...
mine isn't hardcover, but that book, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big book. It's beautiful. I fell in love with character design from that book and with Bruce Timm's style. I realized how you could do so much with just one or two lines, on a design. I love that. And so that was definitely something that appealed to me about Monica, and that's what we went with Terror in the Trenches. It became what we called Bruce Timm on roids. But but then to have a bit more of a manga style for Kitaru Witch Hunter, I mean, it's a very Japanese style story. It just worked, and it's something that I also love. I do love manga and Japanese animation since I was a kid in the 80s, and Robotech came here, and I saw that you could kill off main characters in a cartoon for the first time, and it blew my mind. It turns out there's like a whole generation of other guys that are like, that's their same influence, right? What I just described. And I could totally spot those guys. And they're like, yes, I love Robotech, and it changed my life. Anyway, so like, I've had an influence with Japan, and I grew up in the 80s where like ninjas were cool and everything Japanese was cool for like a hot minute, And it was, and all our cyberpunk got into, Japanese, influenced dystopia and all this stuff. It was just the cool thing. So yeah, to me, manga was cool. Now over the years, it's become associated with like the ultimate nerdiness and, virginity and all these lamenesses. And I've just got to, as an older guy, I'm just like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm watching really violent adult anime from the old days. I'm an old school guy, but there's new cool stuff coming out still. They're doing more interesting stuff than us, and that's why they're kind of winning in a lot of ways. Anyway, but it's really an influence on me. Like Japanese, I took Japanese film history in college, and we did study a little anime there, but also samurai movies. And so Kataru's not just about love of manga, man. It's like Lone Wolf and Cub, like that type of stuff. If you guys know it, Shogun Assassin, those type of sword play movies. I think they're called like Chambara films in Japan, which means like sword play movie. I could be butchering the name. I'm not for sure on it. But basically, they do these awesome samurai like slashing sword movies. Totally badass. That's a big influence on me too. So hopefully
Well, you seem to be a guy that is not afraid of different genres, and I feel kind of like the same way myself. I'll write whatever I feel like doing at any particular time, right? And it's not like I've written comedy. Wraith of God is very serious, obviously. Kit Carter, which I just launched. I guess we launched on the same day. That Kit Carter is very lighthearted and humorous and things like that.
Right.
And so I see that, and your 3 campaigns are very, very different. And so you obviously have some flexibility in your abilities to write different types of genres. And obviously you have a wide variety of interests.
Right. Good call. I mean, and also maybe, I don't know if this is why you create the same way I do in a way. Doing what you want to do when you want to do it. I mean, how much better can you have it as an artist? Right? As when you work for the man for a while, you start to treasure and how precious it is to be able to do what you want when you want. So you take advantage of it. If you're in the mood to write something more funny, do it then. That's when the iron's hot, is it not? Right? So maybe you have the same philosophies. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I just have a wide variety. I have eclectic tastes, and that runs through music, through films. I'm never genre specific and, I like I'm a monster movie guy. I am.
Right.
I'm also, if I can find a good romantic comedy, I know I'm going to get brutalized in the chat for even saying that, but if I can find a good one, I'll watch it, Yeah, exactly.
I like The Princess Bride. I admit it.
I love The Princess Bride.
I admit
great
it.
movie. Right?
It's a great movie. It's a great
movie.
movie.
A great movie is a great movie, and a great comic is a great comic. So I'm never, I always am thinking in my mind, well, okay, is this commercial enough to go forward with? That's always a concern.
Right.
But I think you can get around that if you do it correctly, regardless of what the genre is. And so I wanted to ask you also,
Right.
You mentioned that you studied, I went to film school at USC. And so you said were you in college, you studied directing and writing.
Yeah.
Where did you get this? Where did you get your education at?
I went to Columbia College, Chicago.
Oh, did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Columbia is a good film school. Is that the same one I'm thinking of? Is there one in New York too, or am I thinking?
Yes. There's Columbia film school in New York,
Right.
But then I went to Columbia College, Chicago, which is the largest known film school in the universe. It puts out more new film students than anyone. I'm not necessarily bragging when I say that.
Hey.
That's just a fact about them.
Well, I used to say it about USC. It's like, hey, how hard it is to get into USC film school. I got in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
but I did get in. So
Right. Yeah, me too. I got in. I did well. I actually had my professors coming to me to write scripts for them before I got out. I got to write a script for a guy's advanced animation class, which they spent 2 semesters animating. It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Then he ruined it by changing it. I learned valuable lessons, Aaron, that I think a lot of us learn. I'm sure you've had to deal with this too at some point in your professional life, where the editors overstep and they change your work into something it's not supposed to even be. That happened to me a lot while I was in school. It sucked, but it prepared me for the future, I guess. Right. Where people try to step on you,
Right. Well, we were at USC. They very much tried to train us for the studio system and saying you don't get to be this auteur, right? It's like you turn in a script. Like it was very, very difficult. Once you got into past the beginning stages, we had like our, first year, you'd do all these Super 8 films, and you of course wrote and directed them. Same with your next year projects, were called 310 was the number of the class, but it was, you would write and direct a, 8-minute short film, right? But your partner that you worked with was your editor and you weren't supposed to influence him in the editing. He was supposed to edit it so that you'd get this kind of feeling of, hey, I'm the director. I turn it over. The editors come in and they screw it up, or maybe they make it better. Right.
It depends, right? Yeah.
Right. And then you get to the 480 level, which is, say, your senior project, right, where you can walk out of the school with a 20-minute color sync sound film. But what they would do is you would turn in your scripts, right, and they would only pick 5 scripts per semester. So you could essentially graduate from USC without a reel, which I successfully did without a reel. But if you got picked, right, they would pick one of these 5 scripts to produce. Right. Now you could go in there and say, I want to be a director, or I want to direct my own piece, and they'd consider it, but very rarely did they allow you to direct your own project. So you get these guys turning in scripts, then you get a different director put on it. Then there's clash, people, the writer's pissed because
inevitable.
Right, exactly. But it was like, in a way, I sort of understand it. I mean, when you're there and you're 20 or 21 years old, and you're just like, don't touch my work. Of course, you start to understand that this is how it's going to be. So you better learn to deal with it. You very rarely do you get to just carte blanche and do whatever you want without someone coming in over the top and cutting something or changing something.
I mean, it's a hell of a lesson, a bitter pill to swallow, but it is what's going to happen. What you just described to me happened to me in many ways. Mm-hmm. My teachers, I had a script that was kind of like a hit with my class in one of my screenwriting classes, and my teachers demanded I put it in the script bank for the school. And then they gave it awards, and then it became a practicum film. It was one of like 3 or 4 films or scripts picked to be given a budget and a full film treatment.
Nice.
Really big deal.
Right.
And I'm excited, but of course they're not going to let me direct it. They're going to have a new young up and coming director direct it. And this was my first bout with SJWism. Before I didn't even know the term SJW back when this happened. And it was a young blonde blue-eyed kid who was really concerned about Native Americans and how bad and evil white people were to them. Mm-hmm. So he took my script, which was essentially about a stepbrother or 2 stepbrothers who are at odds by the end, kind of finding some brotherly love and some common ground. Mm-hmm. And he turned it into like white people versus Native Americans hating each other, killing each other. The complete opposite of brotherhood.
Like I think you missed the point somewhere along the line here.
Yeah, I mean, and I found this out when the producer said, "We have he's decided to rewrite your script. Here's what we've done." And of course, it's just a bunch of idiot college kids just rewriting my script into something completely different. I'm just horrified by it. But I know something they don't know. In my contract, I was the only screenwriting kid to say I get first rewrites on the script. So, like, they basically had breached contract, and then that made the professors come down on them like the gods of fiery fury. So they got in trouble. But it's not like so they ended up having to make a movie that was more closer to my script, but they still kind of, like, ruined it. He kept going, can we have the white male be more abusive? That was, like, all he cared about was the white male. Had to be just screaming and raging for no reason.
Oh my God.
The version I wrote was just laying on a couch eating pizza like, hey guys. And like his version's like, shut up, wife! Boom! Slaps her. Just ridiculous. Oh, he ruined it.
Oh man, I've not quite that bad. Of some stories of just some scripts I wrote at DC, and then powers that be came over the top and said, "Oh, we got to add this character. We got to do this and do it like this instead of like that." And you're like, whatever.
Right. But, you're killing my funk. You're killing my awesome.
What are you doing, man? I didn't sign up.
I know how to jam. You pay no mind. That's why you pay me. Yeah. It's annoying. And with me, I was like, this is my future. This script was so good, right? Like back then, this was the best thing I had written yet. And when you're young, you're like seeing it as your future, right? And then this little SJW turd comes in and is like, no, it's about how the natives are hurt by the whites. It's so stupid. Oh, God, college is crazy like that, though. That's just so typical, I guess. We're all still young and figuring it out.
Yep. And speaking of young, we got a young campaign here. It's just a couple days old. This is your Kitaru Witch Hunter. Let me play this trailer here. Can you hear that?
I sure can.
Yeah, good. having trouble with my full screening, so you apologize. We just have to watch all of it.
No worries.
Very cool. First, I couldn't get my sound to work, and now I can't get the widescreen to work. But anyway,
Damn technical issues.
No.
They're.
I got issues.
It's an epidemic.
Anyway, so a couple people in the chat are saying your mic's a little loud. I don't know. I haven't noticed, but turn it down just a hair, maybe.
Oh, my mic?
Yeah, your mic.
Sure. I mean, let's see.
Yeah, it's like I figured out how to turn the
How's
mic
that?
on.
How's that? A little better?
There you go. People in the chat, if your ears are bleeding, let us know. If not, that'd be good. Okay. How about giving us the rundown on this thing?
So this is a book I made just before Monster MD. It's something I inked and was pencils by Felix Novera. Basically, it's about Kataru, who's a witch hunter in this kind of haunted, feudalistic, samurai Japanese world where there's dark demons and witches around every corner. In this world, to become a witch gives you power. It's very tempting, but it also turns you into this monstrous being, this horrible creature of the night. And Kataru, witch hunters like him, are trained from a young age to be able to detect, to be able to hunt down, and then fight and kill these horrific witches who are very, once you corner them and they witch out and the horns come out and the hair goes crazy, you better watch out, man. Like razor blade tongues, bladed fingers, like fire breath, poison darts coming out of their throats. It's very Ninja Scroll. It's very just everything I love. And it's very mystery solving. He's solving a mystery, or the mystery of a woman's death, ritualistic murder in this story. He's working to solve it while the town around him seems to be corrupt and eyes watch him from every side. So you get to learn about this cool character of Kataru, who's kind of a little bit of a roguish witch hunter, of course. He's the classic rebel in all black that I love to write about over and over again. and kind of go through his adventures, which are both fun and dark and scary and awesome and action, oriented, very samurai, very ninja. It is a bit anime manga influence and stuff, but in the end, I think it's a very Vaughn book that goes well with Monster MD or Terror in the Trenches.
Very nice.
Badass.
The artwork looks great. I like the colors on here. Nice. Tell us about this art book. What is this?
So this art book, I kind of put all the stuff I've worked on over the years in one folder and looked at it, and I was like, this is awesome. I want to make a book with this. I want to show people like what I do. I want people to learn from it if they want, or just if they enjoy what I do. If you like my books, you like my characters, you want Necrovanticon. A lot of people have been buying this, I noticed, with Kataru, which is awesome. This book is over 20 years of my design work on all kinds of things, from comics to animations to even like a little film work that I did. You can see in the bottom right corner there that ghost character with the black eyes for something called Hangers. That was a little short I did that just played in a festival, like a horror festival recently. So yeah, it's just all my work. It's just very me. And so of course call it Necrovanticon. But write notes, get personal with it. Let people know like where it was with these designs and what they're for. You will also see work. Like for instance, this work here, X Devils. You've never seen this before. Like this could be a comic in the future is what I'm hoping for. And I've already written 2 scripts for it. So you'll be seeing things before they come out too, subject to change, of course, but you're seeing a lot of my work over the years that's just kind of sitting there hiding, waiting to come out, and hopefully if you want to make your own characters, you could learn from this.
I like your this kind of brown aged paper looking to the interior pages. I think that's pretty cool.
Going for that old mystic tome feel.
So So you've directed some shorts then?
Yep. I hate it. I hate directing.
Really?
Yeah, it's not for me. The fact that they want more female directors is so ridiculous. Like, it takes a very certain type of person to be able to be a director.
Yeah.
I know everybody in college thinks they're the next big director or is trying to be. That's great. But then a lot of us find out we're not, don't we? Like, that was me. I was like, it's not for me. I hate being on. Maybe it's just the way I create, the way I am as a person, the way I'm wired. When I'm on a film set, I feel everyone else taking my energy away from me somehow creatively. I start getting really tired. I go to the crafts table. I'm eating like all the candy bars. I can't stay awake. I'm all tired. I feel sapped. I don't feel excited. And then all these other awesome film people who work so hard, who have boundless energy, are just like having the time of their life, you know? Whereas I'm just the tedium and falling asleep. A lot of times you're doing more. You're not even directing actors. You're managing all this other chaos and crisis on set. Drives you crazy. Not for me, man. I get too stressed. I'm a guy who likes to be alone on his computer, hiding in his own world.
I loved directing. I threw a rock at my lead actor when I was making a film once. We were out at the so I get a little
nice.
Kicked off. But I actually enjoyed it a lot. And maybe it's just because I like bossing people around. I don't know.
Right.
But I did realize very shortly after film school, I was reading scripts at TriStar, and I kind of realized it's like, man, if you want to get married and have a family, which I did and have done, it's like directing ain't for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
You got to kind of and put everything
It's
else
true.
to the side. And I thought, so maybe writing. If I ever got into film, it would be in the writing aspect, because especially I can tell you now I don't have the energy for directing. I wouldn't even want to do it. But
my God.
21 and 22, I was like, yeah, let's do this. And
let's rock, get in the van, get the gear.
Man, let's go out. We filmed out in the desert. I was obviously down in LA and filmed out at Vasquez Rocks, which is where they filmed the Gorn episode of Star Trek and a few other Star Trek episodes. And we have all those pointed, jagged rock formations out there. Looks like you're on an alien planet. And so I had kind of like this post-apocalyptic movie that I'd done. And so we were filming out there a lot, and it was, I don't know, I enjoyed it a lot, but right now is like, there's no way I wouldn't want to deal with the egos of actually having to deal with, actors that, would have any sort of reputation. It's okay when you're getting up and coming actors, because, there's no like level of, who's more experienced than who, and you kind of work together. But I would hate to have to deal with the egos in Hollywood, man.
Oh my God. I could only imagine. Because I remember the moment where, I was finishing up school and I was like, I have to decide, do I want to go to LA and get my balls kicked in and then just come back here anyway? Or do I just skip that?
That's right. I was already there getting my balls kicked in. So
you're there getting your balls kicked in. So I said, no, I'm going to skip that. And I wanted to try to have a family and find the one, and set myself up in Chicago back then. And after a certain point, I was like, this place doesn't like white males too much anymore.
Not anymore.
It's got really weird. It got really weird. So I bailed. And then I launched Monster MD, and the rest has been great. The rest is history.
What have you got here? What's this variant cover? Who did this? And,
baby, Preston Acevedo coming at you with a beautifully, painted cover. Guitar, rad colors. He always brings the metal, just heavy metal goodness. Yeah, and someone already bought the original painting of this, which is pretty awesome.
No kidding. So you had that for sale on the campaign?
Yes, sir. We do have original art for sale if people are interested.
Well, we'll get to the perks here in a sec. I want to see your add-ons. Obviously, you got Monster MD, then Terror in the Trenches.
Yep, just add them on. Let
me ask you real quickly. I know the Black Terror is probably the coolest character in public domain.
I agree.
What gravitated you towards the Black Terror to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to do my own version?
Well, first of all, it was because he's the coolest character in the public domain, but he's not. But he's not a cool character, is he? Like, he's not.
He looks cool.
No, looking cool is awesome.
But it's not the same.
Why is he not cool?
Right.
And so I was like, that's a window of opportunity that is kind of cool and rare. And I was starting to get even frustrated. Why is a guy that looks this cool not cool? So I started writing a story that I thought was so cool. And then, I read a few of the Dynamite versions of Terra, recent ones, and I got even more frustrated, to be honest, because I thought they made him not cool at all.
Right.
So not cool. So yeah, I did my own version, and I hope I made him way too cool.
Well, I mean, it's like the stuff I saw. Again, I haven't read it yet, but the stuff I saw, just storytelling wise and visually, it looks like a as you described, a very cool metal kind of book. So I think you probably did him right. So you got a T-shirt here.
Yes, sir.
Which is
people
very
like
heavy metal.
this seem to like my shirts, and I love designing them. So if you guys dig Kataru and you're into this is the symbol of the witch hunters, the crest of the witch hunters, lets people know you're not to be trifled with, and it says witches get stitches on it. So.
Now, okay, so here's the original art that you got in the perk. So you've got the painting, but then you've also got like the layouts for the painting or the pencil drawings for the painting too.
Yes, yeah, we definitely have the pencils ready to are still, I think, for sale on this.
Okay, and you've got what do you got? 8 pages.
Eight
from the
pages.
Book you're gonna offer up.
8 pages of Preston Acevedo's art on an 8-page story that I wrote. That's like brand new. It's so good. It's so freaking cool. I'm really excited for people to read this one, and I just haven't gotten to write Kataru in a while, so it was just a blast. And with Preston,
so is this a new 8-page story? That's like a backup story in the Witcher?
Yep.
Okay.
I wanted to add a bonus tale, if you will.
Okay. Very cool.
And we have time because the book is the main book is done.
Oh, so you're already ready to, when this campaign's over, you're ready to start shipping.
Yeah. Or go straight to print, hopefully. Right.
Okay.
I want to run a smaller, fast campaign, like just kind of a punk rock little project in between my bigger campaigns, if that makes sense. I thought it'd be fun to do this, and 'tis the season of witches and ghosts, so.
Well, and it's less demanding on you because it's already done, right? All you have to do is deal with the post-production, in other words, the printer, and making sure everything's done correctly, which is a pain in the butt in and of itself, but at least it's not putting the whole book together and getting it designed and so let's take a look at your what you got here for perks. You got the complete hunt. So what's in here?
You get the signed comic, the digital deluxe comes with that, and the signed variant by Preston Acevedo, and then you get the Necrovanicon art book and a T-shirt sent to you in the size of your choosing, small up to 4XL, I believe, in sizes.
Yep, that's what I do. I go all the way up from that. I haven't sold many smalls. I've sold a few 4Xs though.
Yeah, man. Welcome to comics.
Yeah.
I've had people specifically ask for the 4X, and I'm here to deliver. Okay.
That's right. You go all the way, baby. So you're going. You got digital offerings there, and of course you can get. You can just get the art book by itself, or you've got the signed variant.
And if you get the main book, I will give you, or even the signed variant, you will get the digital deluxe for free with it.
Okay. Do you find a lot of people take advantage of the digital copies?
I don't know. Let's see. I'd have to look at how many. I remember a good number of people got them for Terror in the Trenches, and I had people emailing me going, "Hey, I want to back your book, but I can't afford shipping to Europe." Because it's gotten so crazy lately, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's just offer that digital. And so I don't know if it's considered I sell a lot of them or not. I do know people do appreciate them. So, and it doesn't cost me anything to send them an email or so.
Right. Or cost them anything. So then you got, these different, the triple threat, get all 3 books, the book plus the variant. Here's the original art pages. Right. They're $300 a piece. Original sketch for the painting. The painting sold. There it is. 12. Nice.
Yeah.
So are you going to run this? We don't want to give anything away, but you don't want to give away, but are you going to run this for just 30 days? Is this going to go in demand? What are your plans? Do you have them yet?
I'm trying to do a 2-month campaign and then just close out.
Right.
If we need to, maybe we'll go in demand for a bit, but I want to get to Terror in the Trenches 2 pretty soon too. So let's just. Oh, sorry, what?
No, I was going to say, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, so I just want to get this. I want to get this done, and because the book's done, this should be a faster campaign in general. So that's how I'm trying to treat it. Let's go for like a couple months, and then see maybe if there is in demand. I don't want to do it for long. I'd like to do like a big closeout maybe, and have a party, and then get to printing.
Right.
Get it out.
I want everybody to know that the link to this campaign is in the description of this video, so you can just hit that link. It'll take you right there. The man Von KLAUS has been doing some cool stuff, so you want to get in there and back him. Let's do a quick little refresh here. Yeah, we got a couple backers there for you.
Oh, we're also on Fund My Comic. Don't forget that.
So now, I ask you, here before we wrap this up, let me ask you
sir.
about, we're not the only ones, but there's quite a few, obviously, CGers that are getting shadow banned on Indiegogo. Did you plan on doing Fund My Comic before you even got out of the gate on this one and just said, I'm going to do both platforms just to cover my butt?
I hate to admit this because my last campaign, Terror in the Trenches, was also shadow banned. Mm-hmm. And they never got back to me. I approached this not even thinking about the shadow banning for some reason. I thought I wouldn't get shadow banned. I felt like so it just didn't really, I didn't think about it. I just wanted to do both campaigns so I could, I want to support Fund My Comic and be part of this cool upcoming website. So it was more about camaraderie and all that. And also just having two campaigns kind of helps. You generate more and find more people, so that helps. So I was just like, all right, let's just go for it. But yeah, so I wasn't thinking about covering my butt. I didn't think I would have to. It's sadly to say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure on my end either. I was wondering, did they just attach my name to Wraith of God? So if anything I do Wraith of God is going to get shadow banned, but maybe I could slide in something different. And I got 24 hours into it, 28 hours into it, and I was shadow banned. Someone told me that there was, once they have that on your code, on your IP, that it doesn't matter what product, it's going to automatically kick in eventually. So,
after a certain amount of hours.
Yeah. So I sent an email letter. They've never responded to anybody. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do respond. But because it's so ironic when you're signing up, when you're building up your campaign page, you got this little blurb down there and it has some picture of some dude. He's like, hey, let me help you be more successful in your campaign. You're like, okay, why aren't you helping me be more successful then,
Exactly. And why are you sitting, like, I got a response, but it was a copy paste automated response. I said, hey, how, I do not want my campaign to not be in compliance. What can I do to fix this? Fix this?
That's what we've all done.
And he doesn't say anything about it not being in compliance. He just goes, all you got to do is tell your family and friends and promote on social media and you'll pop up. And I'm just like, that's not real. You're just giving me an automated thing. It's just a copy paste of your webpage on how to promote your book. You're treating me like I'm just a weirdo who's scared that his campaign's not doing well. That's not happening. Like I'm nowhere to be found. I'm invisible. And you're even more shadow banned than me because you're unsearchable. Right? Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's like next level banning, man.
Oh yeah.
Like
they really don't like me.
And for what, and if you could talk it out and work it out, that's what you should be able to do so everyone could make money here and have a good time and get the word out.
We printed out the terms of service and it was like, we haven't broken anything, at least as far as we can tell. And, so I don't know. I gotta feel that there's some little person or two that's got their pulse on the or their finger on the pulse of politics and is dinging us for recreation, but I can't prove that obviously.
Right.
For $2, Randy Half, all the way from Canada, says I just backed Kitaru Witch Hunter on Fund My Comic. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Kellraiser for $4.99. How are digital copies done on funding campaigns? Are they protected in some way where they cannot be shared? Some kind of encrypted PDF? What do you have to say about that, on
a zero encryption. If you want to rip me off, you can. I'm giving you a high quality PDF. I don't know. I don't even know if there's such a thing as an encrypted PDF, and if there is, I don't know how to make one. I'm just gonna take the chance and trust you.
right.
You know.
Well, comic book people generally are pretty trustworthy. It's toy people you have to watch out for. I'm just saying. Don't want to offend anybody in the audience, but I'm just saying that it's always been the toy people that have always given me trouble. So.
Oh, okay. Gotta watch out.
That's right. Hey, well, I want to thank you for taking the time to come on, man. Is there anything you want to say in closing here before I let you go?
Well, thanks for having me. I actually had a really good time talking to you. It was a blast, and great questions, and you're a good host, and I just appreciate the time, man. And yeah, we're both Shadow Band brothers now. We're Shadow Brothers,
Band of brothers,
and
right.
Band of Brothers, and it's not going to stop us. We're here. This is what we do. This is who we are, and this is just. We knew when we took a stance of Comicsgate that this would be one of the possible political discriminations we would deal with. So we're just going to keep on trucking, man. We're going to make it happen.
And I want to say this too, before I let you go, that my experience has been, this is not what we were just talking about, but my experience has been guys that went to film school and actually took time, in screenwriting classes and educated themselves in that area have turned out to be pretty darn good comic book writers. So I think that's a great, what do I want to say? Not an omen, but I just think that's a great thing on your resume, because I don't know if you know who Greg Pak is, but he wrote the Planet Hulk stuff I did, and he was a NYU film student, and his scripts are fantastic as well. So I think us film guys, man,
appreciate that.
we got it going on.
We care. We care about story. We've read a million bad scripts. We know what they look like. We do not want to repeat those mistakes.
That is the truth. All right, man. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for coming on. We brought back Creators Corner. I'll give you, we'll come have you on later again, check how the campaign's going as it gets to a close. And I'm terrible about retweeting. So try and, hit me up if you want me to retweet your campaign or whatever. I'll be glad to do it anytime. But you got to remind me.
Of course. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, man. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you later.
See you next time.
Yep. Oh my God. All right. So that was the man known as Von KLAUS. There is his campaign. It's Kitaru Witch Hunter. I want you guys to check that out either on Indiegogo or Fund My Comic. I don't have the Fund My Comic link, but I do have the Indiegogo link in the description of this video. So you want to check that out. And since we're talking about campaigns, let's take a look at mine. Because after all, this is my show, so why wouldn't we? I got to push a few buttons. It's my way. All right, so then we got Kit Carter. Oh, I got to go big. Yay for me. I like that kind of hipster rock and roll music I got going there. Look at that, 47,666. Yikes, we can't leave that there forever. Let's refresh. See if we got out of that. Oh, we did. No longer the mark of the beast. Okay. So those of you who may not, I find it shocking and hard to believe that you haven't backed this campaign yet. But if you haven't, this is a 64-page graphic novel. You guys remember this? This is the Alien graphic novel by our good friend Walter Simonson, and Archie Goodwin wrote it. This is 8.5 by 11, like magazine size, but it's square bound, right? Marvel did a whole series of graphic novels in the 80s, starting with the death of Captain Marvel. And that's the same size format that Kit Carter is going to be. So it's larger, much larger than a regular comic. And you have a hardcover and a softcover version of these available. The story is basic. Let me read it to you. Let me read it to you as William Shatner. Kit Carter is an elite ranger in the Galactic Alliance Freedom Force, also known as GAF, and along with her partner, the Astro Chimp, she polices the galaxy, bringing the most dangerous villains and tyrants to justice. That's enough, Kirk. Lord Menace is the tyrant king of a dying, monster-infested planet. Oh, I'm doing it again. Code-named Planet Doom. In a dangerous and desperate move, he acquires the Eye of Amanon. That sounds pretty massive. And employs its unmatched power to rejuvenate his planet and create forces to conquer the galaxy. Kit and Merv are dispatched to stop him, but is this the one adversary that even they can't handle? Find out in this irreverent space adventure inspired by 1950s sci-fi B-movies. There it is. That's kind of the pitch, the elevator pitch right there. This is going to be old-time fun and excitement that we haven't seen in comics in years. So I encourage you all to get on board the Kit Carter Express. There's the hardcover. If you want the cover by me, you got to go hardcover. It comes signed and numbered. It's a limited edition. And there's actually a little gallery of extra pages of pinups in this hardcover that will not be in the soft cover. My good buddy Chris Stevens did the painted cover, very pulpy looking. I love it to death. I actually have the original art from that. It's really cool. And so that's your soft cover version. Here's page 1 from the graphic novel, penciled by me, inked by Matt Ryan, colored by our own Kelsey Shannon. Here's the double page spread. So it's page 1, then 2 and 3. Pencils by me, inks by Matt Ryan. Kelsey's colored it, but there was a couple minor tweaks we had to make in the color, so I haven't put it up yet. This is by Gary Martin. You'll find this in the pinup gallery of the book. Really nice piece. Very. He's taken a Buck Rogers Frazetta cover from the 50s and sort of incorporated into this Kit Carter illustration. And this one, which originally was intended to be the cover for the book, but I changed my mind. And so now it's a pinup in the pinup gallery in the hardcover only. And it'll be colored by Kelsey, as well as this piece by Gary will be colored by Kelsey. Kelsey's everywhere. We have t-shirts, black and teal. This is a sketchbook that'll be at least 32 pages. I've got tons of Kit Carter art that I did over this character was developed 12 years ago now. And so I was able to start looking through all my sketchbooks and realizing, man, I've got a lot of Kit Carter art. Why don't I put it in a sketchbook? So that's what I'm doing. And so this is the same size as the books, 8.5 by 11. So they'll fit all together nicely on your bookshelf, or in a large magazine comic book box. I've got this insert movie poster, which I'm thrilled to death about. I've been wanting to do this for years. I'm finally making myself do it by making it a part of this campaign. This is the color sketch, the pre-painting color rough, to kind of give me a color guide as to what the finished painting will look like. This is the artwork that's going to be used, the drawings, but they will be finished painting. And it's an insert size, 14 by 36. So it's those narrow, about, and then, these are very popular format style back in the 50s and 60s, a little bit into the 70s before they sort of started disappearing. But again, very cool, very nostalgic. Who Can Save the Universe Before Lunch? Kit Carter, Galactic Ranger in Planet Doom. It's rated PG, of course. We also have the Kit Carter shot glasses. They're on their way right now, but that's what it'll look like to go with the other two shot glasses. We had the Wraith of God and Garbage Man, and this Kit Carter will be the third one. We'll have by the time I'm done with all of this, there's going to be 6 total shot glasses, so you can collect the entire set. And then we're going to offer like a little tray that holds all the shot glasses in them. And we're also, Shelly and I right now are working on what do you call those little grippers for like beer cans? Because Merv's shtick in this is, of course, he drinks what's called space beer. So that we're going to make a one of the, foam rubber things that, you grip that go around the beer can with, it's going to actually say, it's going to have the space beer logo on it. And then we're going to have a little coaster with a Kit Carter image on it as well that we're going to add on here a little bit later. Some of the add-ons you can get right now, of course, are the Garbage Man trade paperback, Power Cubed trade paperback. Both were originally published through Dark Horse, so I still was able to secure more copies of those, but I'm running out. Their supply is limited, and they're not going to go back to press on them. So it'd be up to me somewhere in the future if I ever wanted to reprint these again to do it on my own. So I still have copies, so we haven't come to that point yet. You can get the Wraith of God #1 second printing, which of course had an all new cover on it. If you missed the first Wraith of God, you can add it on here. And we had both versions, the color version and of course the variant black and white. I think there was only 300 of these printed up, so not very many. Or you can get Blood Hunters, which, by the way, is on schedule, and I should be getting, they're supposed to ship out to me on the 7th or before, but no later than the 7th. So we should be having those very shortly, and then I'll be getting those together and start shipping out that campaign. So you don't have to wait much longer for your Wraith of God Blood Hunters book, which is 108 pages of and 4 stories. I mean, there's a lot in there. So I think you'll be happy with that at least as a value. I've still got some 3 story pages left from Kit Carter. This is the backup story that's in the Wraith of God Blood Hunters. We've got 3 pages available of original art left to buy. So you can still get those if you're an art collector. So again, here's all the perks, Kit Carter 3-pack. As I sent out emails to everybody. I sent out an update that I screwed up on the price. I had this at 115 when it was supposed to be 105. And so there's 47 of you that paid $10 more than you should have. I've contacted everybody to email me back to get the refunds, because I have to have your PayPal or Venmo information. And then when the funds are dispersed for the campaign, I will then refund you your $10. But since that time, the perk has been fixed, and it is at the correct price now. Excuse me. And we have the shot glasses, Kit Carter regular edition soft cover. You can get shirts, black or teal. The interesting thing about these is they actually will ship with your books this time, as opposed to shipping separately like I've had to do in the past, because the larger format book will be in an 8.5 by 11 box when it ships. That's the exact size that your folded shirt in its bag will be. So I would encourage you, unless you just want a shirt, you're not going to buy the book or anything, but you just want the shirt. If you buy the shirt, my goodness, excuse me. If you just buy the shirt as an add-on, the shipping's cheaper because it will ship with the book. Kit Carter Planet Doom insert movie poster, that ships separately. Nothing I can do about it. It's going to be rolled in a poster tube, and that's just how it is. It does, if you get the complete Kit Carter, that does come all together, because it's in a huge box, because there's so much stuff that's in there that the poster will actually fit in that box. But if you're just getting it as an add-on or a separate order, it's going to ship separately regardless, because there's just no other way to do it. We have plus sizes shirts. You can get the soft cover with the sketchbook. You can get the hardcover by itself. You can get the hardcover with the sketchbook. You can get the hardcover and the soft cover. Or there's the Kit Carter Completist. And let me show you real quick what you get with this. You get the Kit Carter Planet Doom signed hardcover. You get the soft cover. You get the sketchbook, which is signed. You get the insert movie poster, which is signed. You get the Kit Carter t-shirt. You get a Kit Carter shot glass, and you get a Kit Carter head sketch, original art by yours truly. So that's what you get for $220. It's a lot of money, I know, but it's a good value for what you're paying. So anyway, the link to this campaign is in the description of this video, along with Von Klaus's Kataru Witch Hunter. So you'll find both links in there, so you can get in there and back this baby. You don't want to miss this book. It's going to be a load of fun. And the hardcover, once the orders are in and the campaign closes, the numbers of the hardcovers will be determined by the number of orders. Since it's limited edition, the soft cover, there'll be more available, but there'll be very few hardcovers available past the closing date of the campaign. So if you want a hardcover, make sure you get it while the campaign is live. Okay. I hate turning this show into infomercialville, but got to do what you got to do. Let's get back to our regular programming here, but let me see. We've got some super chats here. I want to make sure I get everybody. Fox Mulder for $5. Thanks, Fox. Appreciate it. He said, on the topic of worrying news regarding Indiegogo, any plans to use the other sites in conjunction with Indiegogo to increase exposure to Kit Carter? Yeah, probably. I'm looking into it. The problem is that it takes a lot of time and effort to put together a campaign page. Like to put together Indiegogo's campaign page, it took me a week, a full time working on it, putting all the perks together and all this kind of stuff. And so it's a matter of time. And, so I'm thinking about it, and we'll see if I can get it and it comes to fruition. Cause I wouldn't mind having it on other platforms, because I know certain people feel more comfortable with different platforms, and they won't stray from that. So, and I would like to see Fund My Comic grow as well. So we'll try and do that, but I can't say for certain at this point. So I'm just going to keep, despite me being a little ticked, I'm going to keep pushing Indiegogo. It's what I've been working with for the time being, and then we'll see what we can do going forward. Kelraiser says, thanks for $4.99. Thank you, Kelraiser. Thanks. I've been thinking of doing a campaign of my own and wondered how digital books work. Got the KCSC, KC, and SB and Wraith of God, #1, second print werewolf cover. Thank you so much, Kelraiser. That is what we call major support, and I appreciate it very much. Of course, that's Kit Carter soft cover and Kit Carter soft cover. Wait a minute, Kit Carter SB. Sketchbook. Yeah, I'm pretty quick up here. And Wraith of God second print, man. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, the thing with the digital, it's apparently really, really easy to make. I have a guy who could do it. Just basically putting together a PDF file is what it is. And you send it to the person, and you can either send them a link and have it like on a site or something that they can download and read. Or you just send them a copy of it, and they can just, so I guess it's not that big a deal, but I haven't found, there is some interest in digital copies, but one thing I found out while I was working in the mainstream is there's a very limited audience for digital download, and it doesn't seem to be growing. And I'm old school. And I know it sucks with the shipping if you're overseas, and I apologize for that. It sounds like we're ripping you guys off, but we are not. A lot of times we're taking losses on shipping. It's just so stinking expensive. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. And, I know that there's people that would like to have some digital, but it's not such a significant demand that it makes me want to risk, getting a bunch of digital versions of it out there so people can just, give it away and copy it and give it away. And, so I may be worrying about something that doesn't need to be worried about, but at this point, I'm still just going to stick traditionally and go with the printed versions. Evil One wants to know where his Keon Blacklight poster is. It's a good question. I was going to do that. And I have a lot of ideas to do stuff, and then I have to pull back because I get too excited, and it's like, okay, let this campaign build, let this product, Wraith of God, let this IP build, so you've got a sustained audience for it, and then start dropping the other things like the Wraith of God board game, which I have, it's written, but I'm not going to go into production on it till I know that I've got enough diehard Wraith of God Bloodhunters fans that would buy the game, so that at the very least I'd break even on it, right? And I want to do a bust, and I'm working on that. But there's got to be, I want to make sure that I have that core audience that loves Wraith of God, and that we're going to have enough people to buy the bust that, again, I won't lose my shirt doing it. The same with the posters. Posters isn't that big of a deal because it's not that much of a cash outlay compared to those other things. But excuse me, what I might do is I might, on Wraith of God 3, I might take the opportunity on the Wraith of God 3 campaign to throw in like that Blacklight Werewolf poster, and bring back the Keon Werewolf t-shirt on that campaign as well. But I didn't want to get too much, what I want to say, I didn't want to get too much variety in this Kit Carter thing. I wanted everything on the Kit Carter campaign to be applicable to Kit Carter, other than, the add-on stuff. But that's just there for people that missed previous opportunities to get these books. But everything in perk-wise and all that kind of stuff, I didn't want to just be all over the place, right? It wouldn't make any sense to have a Dale Keown Blacklight Werewolf poster attached to a Kit Carter campaign. It just doesn't make any sense. So I didn't do it. But it doesn't mean I won't do it on Wraith of God 3. So there you have it. All right. It's time to get this show kicked into high gear. And let me see what I got. What are we doing next here? Oh, I know you guys have been waiting for this. Shortest intro in the business. All right. Let's see what's in my collection. We are still in the S's, folks. Let me switch cameras here. All these drawings on this butcher paper. Okay, so we're in the S's. I believe we're right knocking on the door of Strange Tales. So let's take a look. Look at that. This is Strange Tales number 90. It, of course, is Orgo the Unconquerable. It's a nice solid copy. It's like a fine condition copy. On these older books, like, 1960, 1961, look at that, it's still 10 cents. I don't have to have like near mint copies of this stuff. As long as it's not falling apart and it's a nice solid looking grade, I will go ahead and put the money out and get it. Now, there's been kind of a resurgence in the last decade or so of the Kirby monster stuff. So you've probably seen this creature in a newer version from Marvel, probably in the last decade or so. But there he is right there. Orgo the Unconquerable. Another Jack Kirby, Stan Lee production. And depending on who you talk to, it might be more Kirby than Ditko. But anyway. Evil One's like, just do the Blacklight poster, Aaron. Oh my gosh, okay. Let's see. Kevin Thomas says, I'm late, but I'm here. Glad to see. I was just saying the other day that Aaron should have Vaughn on here, and indeed I did. Vaughn's a cool dude, man. He's cooler than me. I get intimidated by guys that are like too cool, and he seems like he's pretty darn cool. So Paul Brillart's here. The Remington Wraith bronze statue perk is also pending. Oh my gosh, I would love to do that. Probably like what, $500 a piece. I'm sure there'll be tons of people lining up for that. Randy Hall says, we're going to see Kit out of the spacesuit. Guess you'll have to wait and find out, won't you? I'm not sure exactly what Randy means by that, although I think I know what he means by that. Paul's right. He says near mint is almost impossible on these books, which is really true. If you can find like an 8 or something like that, you're just doing backflips. Okay, how about this one? This is Strange Tales 114. This is technically the first Silver Age appearance of Captain America, but it's actually the acrobat dressed up as Captain America. So it doesn't really count as his first Silver Age appearance, even though, my gosh, that's Captain America. So I think it is his first appearance, but it's not the Steve Rogers Captain America, which of course is Avengers #4, which I also have. But this is a cool book. It's probably a VF. It was sold to me as a VF plus. It's probably a VF. In fact, if I got it graded, it'd probably come back like a 7 or something and just piss me off. That's why I'm not getting it graded. But it's a really nice copy. Got really nice corners here. There's a couple dings on the spine, but nothing major. It's a nice book. So there you go. This is also cool. This is Strange Tales 125. This is also, I think there's a VF plus on this. This is probably nicer than this one. So if this is a VF plus, that would mean that's a VF or a VF minus. Pretty confident in this grade, but not so confident that I'm going to send it in and get pissed off and get a CG grade that I don't like, or CGC grade that I don't like. But this is kind of a cool cover. Submariner versus the Thing. This, of course, is when this was a split book between Human Torch and Doctor Strange stories were in both of these. He's right here, co-featuring the mysterious Doctor Strange. He's very mysterious. I got a couple more Strange Tales. This, of course, is a near mint copy of this, and this is Captain America. I think this is Stranko's first Captain America. Excuse me. So they dropped the Human Torch, added Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Doctor Strange. So they split Strange Tales. And so this is a early Stranko cover. You can see the Kirby influence on his work. I believe this is inked by Vince Colletta, which makes me sad, but well, maybe not. That might be Stranko inked this. I take it back. That's Stranko. He may have done the inside, though. There's something about that face that makes me think Colletta. But it's just got Stranko's name on it, so I'm going to assume he inked this himself, because these legs and stuff like this, that looks totally Stranko inking. It's just that face that made me think of Colletta there. Anyway, so that's a nice book. I got that on the cheap before it blew up. Most of these I got, at least 10 to 20 years ago. This was a Christmas present I got from Metropolis Comics. My son got this for me a few years ago. This is the first Silver Age appearance of the Yellow Claw, a book that probably would be frowned upon by our politically correct society. But I always loved the Yellow Claw. And there he is. First appearance right there. Another near mint copy right there. Okay, that's 161 of Strange Tales. This, of course, is 163, which is the continuation of that same Yellow Claw story. So I need to get 162 to kind of get all 3 issues. But here you have Nick Fury, and there's the Yellow Claw back there. Got a nice Chinese dragon going on here. And the dragon cried, "Death." Nice stuff. One more Strange Tales. This, of course, is Strange Tales 167, the iconic flag cover. This is kind of like in fine minus condition. It's not a great copy. I'm a little saddened by that. I'd love to have this in near mint, but alas, I do not. A little more modern Strange Tales. It kicked off, came back in the 1970s, and this is the first appearance of the Golem. He was like, they had like a 3-issue run here, and being a monster kid, I had to get it. And so I have them in near mint condition. They're not really worth a whole heck of a lot, but they're worth a lot to me in my heart. But the Golem, of course, is that's Jewish mythology, this stone man, stone creature. Is he man or is he monster? I don't know. And then, of course, Starlin taking over Warlock here. So Warlock became a regular feature in Strange Tales 178. And this, I want to say, is what, probably 75? 1975, somewhere 74, 75, probably 75. And they did several issues of Starlin did of Warlock. This is the first appearance of Gamora. It blew up for a while, but it's kind of come back down to earth. This is another near mint copy here, probably 9.4, maybe even better than that. So that's Strange Tales 180. Of course, they spun off Warlock into his own series, and but this is where it all started, baby. Well, first appearance is actually in FF something or other. What was it, 61? And then his first full appearance is in Thor 165. But then, of course, we have him here in Strange Tales. This is my last Strange Tales I'm going to share with you. This is Strange Tales 107. This is kind of an iconic classic cover. Human Torch meets Submariner. Okay, this ticks me off because I bought this as a 7.0 ungraded and then decided to go get it. And it's a really nice looking book too. To come back as a 5.5, I was furious. But this is what, January, February, March, April 1963, a year before I was born. How about that? Stan Lee and Larry Lieber did the stories, Dick Ayers, Steve Ditko, Larry Lieber art, Jack Kirby did the cover. Human Torch versus Submariner, Fantastic Four appearance, and of course it is considered a classic cover. Why in the world this isn't at least a 6.5 is beyond me, folks. It's a little rough there in the corner. I don't know. Maybe they were, I don't know. But a 5.5 is egregious, and you can tell I'm still ticked about it. Because like I said, I bought it as a 7.0. Now again, I bought it 20 years ago, so it's not like I paid a ton for it and I lost money on the deal, but still. Anyway, guys, there it is. That is what's in my collection for this week. Tomorrow we get it, or tomorrow, next week we get into Submariner. How about that? And there I am back. Let's see. What do you guys got for this? Change the bag on 167 and 174. They're rippling. Thank you, Green Laser. I'll do that in all my spare time. I know I need to go in. You're supposed to change them like every, whatever, 5 years or something. And Green Laser is all over me. Change those bags, man. That first Warlock looks like a pinball back glass. It does. All the Starlin stuff, man, was trippy in the 70s. Paul Brillard, there he goes. He's backing me up. Starlin, he means, was great 70s art, really original style and storytelling. Indeed, he was. Green Laser, yeah, that looks way better than a 5.5. I'd have it regraded. Yeah, I know. I'd send it in, pay more money, come back as a 5, and I'd really be furious. Marcus Killiger's saying that was FF66, the very, very, very first appearance of him, who then later became Warlock. Evil One says CGC is the only way to go. Thank you, Frank. Says I never change my bags. Leg Kick doesn't either. Let's see. Aaron's son must hate him if he's getting him comics for Christmas. What else are you supposed to get for Christmas? I don't want socks. Are you kidding me? Tech Zombie, Aaron, I need my beanie. It's freezing here in Texas. Did you order one? Because I have them. I have them for sale still. If you want one, just contact me. If you already ordered one, then put it on your head, for crying out loud. Herman P. Henderson got to head out later. All thanks for joining us, Herman. Appreciate it. Oh, Christina Lynn's here. Hey, Christina. Randy Howell says Nick Fury is white. He used to be. Doodle Pimp, only worth 12 cents, I see. Green Laser says, I just bought a set of Creatures on the Loose number 10, 11, and 12. They're all in the mail now. Aaron knows the significance of book 10. Indeed, I do. It is the first appearance of King Cole, and it's by Bernie Wrightson. I got 2 copies of it. I still don't have a near mint copy. I have a 9.0 and like an 8.5, but I really want a 9.2, a graded 9.2, and eventually I'll get one. Angela Curry's here. Okay. Green Ledge is like, I just don't like how books look in rippled bags. I don't blame you. You're right. I should change it. And maybe someday I will. Okay. Let's see here.
Moving right along.
Indeed, we're moving right along. So let's take a look at the feature that I just brought up, brand new, just a couple weeks ago, called Who's This Guy? Let's find out. I just had a bite of pie. John Alvin is who we're going to be looking at today. John Alvin has created some of the very iconic movie posters throughout the years. I'm kind of a mixed bag. Some of the stuff I really like a lot, some of it not as much, because he's an airbrush guy, and I was never a big fan of airbrushing. I always thought airbrushing was kind of cool, like for van art and things like that in the 70s, but there's something so it's like it's almost becomes too soft or something. There's a lot of pinup artists that used airbrushes, in the golden age of pinup art that were good. Petty, pardon me, not Petty, although he may have. No, he's probably oil paints. I meant to say Vargas. He started off doing everything by brush, but then later started airbrushing. And probably because it was quicker. And they did a great job with that stuff, but I don't know. Like I said, it depends on the piece. But anyway, let's take a look at Mr. Alvin here. Here he is. He seems like a jolly guy. So that's John Alvin, and he's there's a book out on his work, on his movie poster work. It's actually like I think it's called The Art of John Alvin, I think. So after you see some of these pictures we're going to show today, if you're thinking, wouldn't mind getting, a collection of this guy's work, it's out there and available on Amazon. So there he is. Seems like a pretty friendly, jolly guy. Let's take a look at some of the posters he's done that maybe you're unaware that he did, or maybe you are aware of it and you're just smarter than me. Empire of the Sun. Now, there's not a ton to this poster, but it's still a great design. And I'll say this about this movie. I think this is one of Spielberg's underrated classics. I thought when this came out, and I was in film school when this came out, so I was going to see every film that was nominated for Academy Awards, and we were seeing everything, right? I thought this was the best movie of the year, and it didn't even get nominated for Best Picture, which I found stunning. I think The Last Emperor won this year, which, it was all right. It was good, but it's like, I much preferred this film. Citizen Ron's going, that poster's okay. Well, I'm not saying that it's like, oh my gosh, but it's really well designed. It's a really great design poster. That doesn't mean it's something that maybe you would hang on your wall because the artwork's so fantastic, but you have to appreciate how well it's designed. It's a very effective, well-designed movie poster. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. He also did a ton, which I was unaware of, a ton of Disney animated movie posters, like Mulan and I think Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. I chose this one to show because what an awesome design this is. It's just a great shot. You know, you've got the bells in the foreground. You're looking down. The window frames the city down below. You've got our hero, the hunchback. I really thought, excuse me, I really thought this movie, it wasn't the most enjoyable of all the Disney films, but it may have been the most artistically brilliant movie of all the Disney movies. There was just a lot of stuff going on in this film that was very sort of edgy, on the verge of kind of adult type stuff. There's a scene with the Monsignor, you know, the evil Monsignor, and he's dreaming about Esmeralda, and like he's standing by his fireplace, and the figure of Esmeralda dancing is in the flames, and it's just, you know, it's not really a kid's movie. It really isn't, but it's so well crafted that I have just a really, really high appreciation for this film, even though it's not something I watch, because it's not necessarily a feel-good movie, right? It's kind of dark in a lot of ways. And so in a way, it was a departure from that formulaic stuff that Disney had been doing, like The Little Mermaid and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Hercules, and which all of those I enjoy on just a, you know, fan level. I enjoy those movies more than The Hunchback, but I appreciate The Hunchback more. This segment would have been better. You're always criticizing me. I feel bad. I've got some horror stuff coming. Evil One. Just be cool, man. Just relax. It's coming. I've never seen this one before, but because I'm such a huge Chuck Jones fan, I had to bring this up. No, this is a, I don't know. I don't think this is a book cover. I think it's a tribute print or poster. So you've got this portrait of Chuck Jones up there in the sky in the blue there. This is an orange blue complementary, which is my favorite. It's my favorite color scheme for painting. Now I can see the texture on this right down here. So this looks like it was an oil painting. That's probably why I like it. You can see the texture, canvas texture. And that's probably why I like this, because it's more traditional. But it's all, I'm a big Chuck Jones fan and big Looney Tunes fan. So that's a pretty cool print. You can probably get it on his website. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, now here's an airbrushy painting that I don't like, but it's very famous. And it's very interesting too. Now check this out. This is the poster that was used. And the thing about John Alvin, what he did a couple of times, I'll show another example of this, is he like combined techniques. This is obviously a brushwork right here. She, however, is airbrushed. So it's like, I just find that really bizarre that he would paint this with a brush and then paint her with an airbrush. But that's exactly what he did. Unless this is a really, really, really soft watercolor job with some colored pencil over the top of it, which it looks like that could be what he's got going on here too. But regardless, you can tell the techniques are brutally different. So this is the one that was used, but here's the one I actually like better. And I don't know if this is for a re-release or if he just didn't like the original one either and redid it. But this is a much better piece, I think, in its execution. Let's see if we can get in here a little closer on. This looks like he's doing, yeah. He's got some acrylic in here, and he's got colored pencil coming over the top of it. This is very Drew Struzan-y technique-wise. So you can see that soft edge there. Makes me think this is watercolor again, but maybe with a brush and not so much with a airbrush. So this looks better. This is just a better painting all the way around, but it's not the one that got used originally in the poster. So I don't know if he redid this for something or what. Never question the artist. I question them all the time. I question everything I do too. But I much prefer this to the original one. Now, here's an example of what I was talking about here. I have this movie poster. I love this movie poster. It's brilliant in its design, but I don't know if this scan is good enough to get in there close like I wanted to. The monster is airbrushed. Frankenstein is brush painted, at least his face is. And it's just a really interesting why he chose to do that. I'd love to ask him why he chose to do that. This cloud stuff up here looks airbrushed. You know, the lettering here is awesome. The whole design of the movie poster is brilliant. And I have one. I have it hanging in my movie room, but it's really interesting that, you know, you'd see two stylistically different techniques or approaches. Again, this hair up here looks like it could be airbrushed, but the face is definitely like either oil or I'm going to guess acrylic, but it could be oil with a brush. And this is all airbrushed. The monster is. That's just weird to me that you would like do something so stylistically different on the same poster. Let's see. But as you can see, he's responsible for a lot of very classic movie posters. Gosh darn it, I grabbed a small JPEG of this, but you guys know this one so well, it won't, you don't need to necessarily see it super clear. Of course, it's E.T. This probably is his most famous poster. And again, I think this poster goes for over $100 now or more. And I was down in LA when I was 18. A friend of mine and I road tripped down to Los Angeles kind of as a high school graduation present. Can you imagine? I would never let my kids do that now. But back then, we were 18, we had a car, and we were gone. And I was in Hollywood Boulevard, and they still had a ton of movie poster shops down there. And we were in, I think we were Larry Edmond's bookstore, which is still there. And they had a really nice movie poster selection. The guy was standing behind the counter, you know, and you'd go, "Do you have this movie poster?" And he'd go, "Yes." And he'd come and roll it out. You'd take a look at it. And I think I got Nosferatu, the remake with Klaus Kinski. I got the movie poster for that while I was there. But they had this one for $20, I think. And it was brand new. E.T. had just come out or was just coming out. And I thought, oh, the design on this is really great, but it's so simplistic in terms of the art that's actually on it. I was like, so I didn't get it. Now, because of the value of the poster, I kind of wish I had, but I still think it's a great design. It's a brilliant design. Simplistic, and yet tells you everything you need to know. It's really, really cool. So anyway, there's several pieces of artwork from John Alvin. If you want to, like I said, he's got a book on his art that's out there that you can check out, and I'm sure he's got a website. I didn't bother to check on that, but not hard to find. He's done a ton of work on a lot of iconic films and stuff, and so it's got a pretty cool resume. So I just want to make you guys aware of another artist out there that maybe you might have been familiar with the work, but didn't know who they were. So now you know, you got a name to go with the artwork. There you go. Evil One's like, it makes me want to buy more movie posters. Indeed. I've got a movie poster collection, and you can only hang up so many of them because they take up so much wall space, which is exactly why I did the Kit Carter as an insert movie poster instead of a giant 47 by 21 movie poster. So it's easier to display. You don't need as much room. I love insert movie posters. They're my fave. Randy Howell says E.T. got drunk in that movie. He did. Bob Peak did a lot of airbrush as well. Yes, he did. But he managed, we're going to take a look at Bob Peak down the road. He did a lot of, I don't know, stylistic airbrush. I know that sounds like a weird term, but I didn't mind his airbrush work. It might have just been a thing of the 70s, guys that did a lot of posters in the 70s and early 80s. It was airbrush was the thing. Green Laser says, I have no wall space left. Well, that's why you rotate your posters. Anyway, so yeah, down the line, when we say, who's that guy? When we do another episode of Who's That Guy, we're going to look at some other artists like that. Take a look at some of their work that's quite good. Although you guys have probably heard of, most people have heard of Bob Peak or, some of the other guys I might pull up. But I try to find some ones that have really cool artwork that aren't household names, but we'll see. We shall see what I come up with. And speaking of artists that aren't household names, that's right. The Evil One wants more monster artwork, and that is what I'm here to show you on this pre-Halloween show. Now, what I'm going to show you that's in my flat files, it's actually kind of a lie because they're not in my flash files anymore. I don't have them anymore, but I do have scans of them. And so we're going to show you some stuff. This is one of my all-time fave monster pieces. This, of course, is Bela Lugosi. This is Boris Karloff as Frankenstein in graphite. That's a fancy way of saying pencil. I did these on watercolor board to help create a little bit more texture. And when I say I did these, I did all the Universal monsters. But if you get in here close, you can see the tooth and the texture. And one of the things, if you want like texture without having to really work for it, do your drawings on watercolor paper, and it's just kind of built right in. The problem with doing pencil work like this is it tends to want to stay gray, and it's really difficult to get those blacks in there that you want. I may have gone in with a Prismacolor black colored pencil to reinforce those black areas, or I may have, when I scanned it, I may have used my my adjustment switch to make it darker than it actually was. I can't really remember because I don't know. I can't remember if I used the Prismacolor black on this or not, but it was mostly pencil. And then I may have gone in with the Prismacolor. But the thing with the Prismacolor is it doesn't erase. And if you look at this right here, this bumpiness right in here, I went in with a kneaded eraser and splotched and just kind of splashed out the pencil to get those white highlight effects. So if I added any heavy black Prismacolor to this, it would have been when I knew that I was completely done and wanted to beef it up. But I can't remember, to be honest with you, because it was like 04. This was almost 20 years ago that I did this. But still one of my favorite pieces. Now, of course, you can't have the Frankenstein monster without the The Bride of Frankenstein, can you? So there we go. There's Elsa Lanchester. And again, this is pencil on watercolor paper. One way to get a really dark black on watercolors, you have to do very tight noodling and like fill in the craters on the paper. Because what happens is when you're going over the watercolor board with your pencil, it hits the top bumps, but the craters in the paper, it doesn't. And that's why you get that broken textured feeling. So if you want something really, really dark, you got to go in and make sure you fill in the craters as well as the peaks on that watercolor board. So you can see right here on her nose where it's darker that I surely did that right in here, on her lips. I did another one that I actually liked better. It's a total profile shot of her, but I ran out of time. I just thought to dig these up just before the show started. And then I was like, I got to find I had to find the discs that these were on because these were like, like I say, 20 years old. So I have them all on like CDs. Thankfully, I still have a CD player I can plug into my computer and read these images. All right. Now, I started taking an oil painting class about the same time as I was doing this. So in the early 2000s. And I did, and again, I wasn't able to find all the paintings. So I was taking an oil painting class and we were using water-based oil colors, which are really great because they dry really quickly. And, you don't need linseed oil or any sort of medium. You just use the water to thin them. And they don't quite have the gloss that regular oil paints do. But as you can see in some of these areas here, you're still getting light reflection problems when you're trying to photograph these things. This is obviously Lon Chaney as the Wolfman. It was really funny because we were in a class and you could paint whatever you wanted in the class. And of course I was an adult. I was already working, professionally in comics, but I wanted to learn how to oil paint better other than just what I'd self-taught myself. So we had this guy that was a local guy that had gone to Art Center in Pasadena and really understood technique and how to do stuff and explain stuff. And so he was a really good teacher. And so that's why everybody was like painting pictures of their daughters or whatever they brought in. And I'm sitting here painting like the Wolfman. And hey, Gary Martin's in the chat. How about that? Evil One says, I want your EC Comics characters you made this season. I still got I sold the Old Witch, but I still have the other two. And then I have Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie as well, still sitting there in the portfolio. But anyway, so that's the Wolfman in water-based oil paints. This is really early on. This is actually before I started taking classes. So this isn't the greatest thing you're ever going to see. But it's a Frankenstein piece. And this is done in regular old oil paints. I like the background a lot. The drawing's good. There's some, it's not bad, for someone who doesn't know what the heck they're doing, which I clearly didn't. But it's funny, the more you start to learn about placing shadows and creating volume, the better painter you become, even if you haven't been actually painting, because you're gaining this knowledge. And then it becomes just a matter of controlling the medium, right? And getting it to do what you want it to do. Gary says, do you still have these paintings? I don't. I sold them all. The Wolfman painting was actually a commission because let me think. I think the guy who bought this Frankenstein painting from me said, hey, can you do a Wolfman? Can you do Dracula? And I'm like, yes. And yes, so I did the Wolfman. So this was the first one I did, and this guy bought it because I think I posted it on. This is very early in the internet age, and someone saw it and contacted me and wanted to buy it. So I'm sure I sold it to him for a couple $100. These are like, they're not huge. I think they're 11 by 14, maybe a little bit bigger. And then I did the Wolfman after that, and then my third one, my most hated of the monsters, probably was my best painting because this is the one I did after I got through the entire course, this painting course. And this is a Bela Lugosi as Dracula. Now, what I did with this, now the hair is not great. Still was figuring this out, but this shadow here, there's some nice stuff in here. And what I did was I basically scumbled this whole painting. And scumbling means it's kind of like, that's a term for like dry brushing your oil paints. So instead of using medium and stuff, I wanted, because if you get too much medium in your oil paint, it tends to push to the side. Like, so if you have a square brush and you push it across the canvas, it tends to squish out on either side, right? So you have the heavier paint on either side and it's thinner on the inside. If you do more of a dry brush thing where you're just using the paint without any medium in it, you can kind of like almost like acrylic, you can sort of like rub it around and get like sort of really nice soft edges without it getting too wet. And so what I did was this was a Norman Rockwell technique where you take Mars Red, which is really kind of a violet color. That's what's going on back here. And you do your underpainting in Mars Red. So you can see it under his eye here. I did all the shadow work. It was a monochromatic painting in Mars Red. And then I went in and put in the flesh tones over the top of that and boosted the shadows. So it's an interesting technique, but it gives you a lot of control. Whereas when you're using wet on wet oil paints with, a medium, they can get a really muddy and sloppy if you're not careful. This sort of prevents that because you're almost dry brushing that paint on there. And it's not really dry, but it's in oil painting terms, it is. And so I was able to get kind of these kind of edges that I wanted in here that were kind of soft and transitioned nicely. So it was a really good exercise. And this ended up getting used as a book cover, believe it or not, on in Europe someplace. Some guy had reprinted the Dracula novel, and he wanted to use this painting. So I not only sold the original, but I sold the rights to use the image. So I made a little bit of money on it. I got one more to show you here. This is just a watercolor I did. And this, I think, is just this is probably on hot press watercolor board, which is a really very smooth watercolor board. It's just a real heavy paper, so it doesn't buckle. And obviously this is the Headless Horseman with the focus on the pumpkin, right? And I spent a lot of time in I painted this in 2000. I spent a lot of time in the late 90s because I was unemployed a lot. I spent like these long stretches of time where I didn't have any comic work, working on painting techniques in watercolor and in oils. And so I was getting pretty proficient about layering with watercolors and getting the soft edges that I wanted. You can see in here, using the blue in here to and leaving some highlights in here and how I did the fire, leaving the paper pretty much white here and then barely putting in a little bit of yellowish orange. So it was actually one of the funnest periods of my career when I was unemployed because I was painting, which is what I really wanted to do. But unfortunately, then you get back into doing comics full time and everything's black and white and you totally forget to paint. And you can go 10, 15, 20 years without painting. Randy Hall says, now that's a pumpkin Shane Davis can squeeze. Yes. Citizen Ronan says, I'm surprised you didn't use Chinese orange. Oh, you guys. Evil One says, I would have just painted that Dracula in blood. I don't believe you. I think you're all talk, Evil One. He's talking about the oil paint. I didn't use any. I used a little paint thinner if I needed to break the paint down a little bit. But most of the time, like I would rinse my brush in paint thinner, right? And then I would then go into the color. But then I would, like you do with an ink brush, when you dip it and it's got too much ink in it, you kind of roll it across the paper till you get some of the ink off of it so you can control your line better. That's what I did with the paint brushes. And so that I had this very sort of dry brush effect I could get. But yeah, I didn't ever use any medium like a linseed oil or anything like that. I just used, I didn't use turpentine. There was some all natural stuff. My wife hated the smell of it, but it smelled like pine trees basically, but super intense pine trees. And I would use that. And it was kind of thick. It wasn't thin like paint thinner, but it's supposed to be like naturally biodegradable. And so it was thicker. And so it actually kind of acted like a little bit of a medium to the paint. I didn't know if I put this up. Yeah, I did. Evil One for $2. Thank you, Evil One. I appreciate it. I want your EC Comics characters you made this season. Those have all been posted up on the interwebs and social media. But yeah, I do have all of them except the Old Witch from EC, which is I sold. Someone jumped on that pretty quick, but the other ones are I still got them. Any Lord Pumpkin? No, I don't have any left anyway. I never painted. I did a Howard the Duck painting. I think Gary probably remembers that. We were in the studio together when I did that Lord Pumpkin, that Howard the Duck painting. In fact, it's sitting right over here. So, yeah, I hadn't taken any painting classes or anything at this point. I was just kind of experimenting with the color and the whole thing. In fact, I hadn't even really done much color theory work at this point. But it turned out okay for someone who didn't know what they were doing. There you go. And that's on canvas, baby. Yeah. This was 1995. So yeah, I was taking those painting classes like in 2000 and whatever, actually probably like 2003, 2004. So this was back in the Studiosaurus days right there. Howard the Duck. I did a Spider-Man on canvas board that actually turned out okay too. So Christina Lane says that painting is as old as me. Christina, this is 2 weeks in a row. Oh my goodness. Custom God says it would have looked better with a red tie rather than a yellow tie. Okay. Yeah, Lord Pumpkin painting would have been cool. Well, not dead yet. Maybe I will do one. All right. So there you go. That's what's in my flat files, but really not what's in my flat files. But if some of you started the show hungry, you're really going to get hungry now because it's time for Aaron's top 5. I feel like I've done this in the past, but I always enjoy talking about food when I can. So I do have a top 5 sandwiches. Now, one of them is, I'm not going to say it's controversial, but it might be open for interpretation. But so I'm getting dinner time here. Let's take a look and see what's on my top 5 list. At number 5. This is pretty a standard favorite that most people probably enjoy. Not going to shock anybody, but the club sandwich. You got turkey, you got ham, you got bacon, you got tomato, you got lettuce, you got cheese. What more could you want? You get 2 pickles and chips. The only thing I hate about the club sandwich is the toothpicks, because it's so thick that you got to have the toothpick to hold it together. But then when you take you got to take the toothpick out to eat it, and then you're desperately trying to hold it together while you're eating it. But yeah, I'm a big club sandwich fan guy. It's one of the staples in my sandwich eating. Custom God saying, what about a wish sandwich? 2 slices of bread and wish you had some meat. I've been there. Stippling Vine, finally, sandwiches. Evil One, I've been hungry. Okay. Well, after this, I think all we have is cryptids after this. So, you'll be able to eat soon enough. Triple decker tuna man. Greek dinner staple. I didn't know that. Okay, Evil One, I'm not going to respond to that. Okay. So you can never go wrong, I don't think, with the club sandwich, the traditional club. So here's number 4. Now, this used to be my go-to whenever I went into a deli. In fact, it still would be. When I go into a deli like in New York, which I won't do anymore because I don't want to get shot. Oh, there's my dog. But when I used to go to the New York show or go to New York to visit Marvel or DC, there's tons of delis in New York, right? And this was always my go-to. Pastrami and Swiss on rye with some mustard. And it's a simple sandwich, and yet a great sandwich. I love pastrami. This is almost always served warm. And you can get one in a New York deli. In fact, I got one in Katz Deli. Was the last time I had a real good pastrami on rye sandwich. Was at Katz Deli, and in New York, and it was it was piled high. It was this thick. I don't know. Probably with prices these days, you probably don't get as much meat, but that was good. Giant pickle to go with it. Good eats. Funny thing about Katz Deli is, though, I don't know if they changed, but last time I was there 10 years ago, granted, they didn't take card. You had to pay in cash. So I was there, I believe, with Terry Dodson, and I didn't have any cash on me. I just had my card, and I got up there to pay after we'd eaten, and he's like, "Oh, no, it's cash, pal." And I'm like, "What?" So I had to borrow money from Terry. Of course, I paid him back, but thankfully he had cash on him. So you got to watch out for those New York delis. But anyway, pastrami and Swiss on rye. Good eating. Okay, number 3. Oh, this is a tiny little picture. Now, I don't know if some people would consider this actually a sandwich or not, but I am, because my mom used to refer to these as hamburger sandwiches when I was a kid. So the hamburger comes in at number 3. Wait a minute. Some person says Jewish delis are making a comeback. You should check it out if any opened where you are. I would certainly, if I saw that, I would be there in a second. Stippling Vaughn saying Swiss vomit. What else are you going to put on a pastrami sandwich? You're not going to put any other cheese. It's Swiss or nothing, man. Fox Mulder says, I come for the sci-fi babes. I stay for the top 5 sandwich list. Yes. Okay, so I think hamburger classifies as a sandwich. And to me, hamburgers are kind of like pizza. It's always good. So, it doesn't really necessarily matter who made the pizza or who made the hamburger. I'm still probably going to eat it. In fact, I'm going to be grilling hamburgers here in a few minutes. For me, actually, I was going to say, I can't have a hamburger without cheese on it. But I've also discovered recently there's a place, like a food truck kind of place around here that you can get a hamburger with blue cheese on it, which I love blue cheese. And it's a pretty good combo. Grilled hamburger with blue cheese on there. Good. All right, now we're getting to the serious stuff. Now this, unless you've, I just cut myself off. I don't have any self-control. For number 2, this is a sandwich that I discovered in Paris. And so I know that makes me sound a little snooty and a little hoity-toity. But I love this sandwich. This is called the Croque Madame. Croque Madame. And it's, you get, I don't even know, I can't remember the name of this cheese that they melt on top. It's like a toasted cheese sandwich. There's, I think it's some sort of a ham type meat in there. And then there's like a fried egg on top of it. Now you can get just the regular old, there's the croque monsieur, which doesn't have the egg, and the croque madame, which does have the egg. And I always go for the one with the egg. This sandwich is freaking incredible. And Shelly and I actually got a hold of some of this cheese. I can't remember again what it's off the top of my head what it's called. Made them ourselves, and they were good, but not as good as you get in, a little cafe in Paris. So if you're ever in Paris, which I would recommend going now with all the stuff that's going on, but if you're ever in Paris, when things ever calm down, the world returns to somewhat normal, the Croque Madame is the way you want to go. So that's my number 2. But my number one sandwich that I've had in every city I've ever been to in my life, at least in the United States, is a Yep, you guessed it, the Reuben sandwich. Now, a Reuben sandwich is not made with pastrami. It's made with corned beef. If you get a Reuben with pastrami, you're a liar. You're a fraud. Don't do it. It's corned beef, sauerkraut, some sort of Thousand Island type concoction sauce on preferably marbled rye bread. So you have the dark and lighter rye marbled in there. I love this sandwich. Love it. And I've had them in New York. I've had them in Chicago. I've had them in Florida. I've had them in California. I don't know if I had one in Texas. I've had one in Canada. And the best Reuben sandwich I've ever had was right here in Portland, Oregon, at a place called the Buffalo Gap down on John's Landing. So if you're ever in Portland, and this is away from the downtown area, so you're probably not going to get mugged or attacked by blue-haired weirdos, but I highly recommend it. The Buffalo Gap in John's Landing. I don't even know if it's still there. I haven't been there in years, but it did have the best Reuben sandwich I'd ever had in my life, I thought. So that's my number 1, the Reuben sandwich. Good. Now I am really hungry. Reuben Kincaid, of course, from the Partridge Family. That's what I used to think that was funny. And it's like, why do they name him after a sandwich? Evil One, how is a hamburger a sandwich? Because it's in between 2 slices of bread, essentially. All right. I knew it was controversial. Evil One says the best Reuben sandwich I had was in Vegas this year. Okay. What if the blue hairs migrate to John's Landing? Well, then we got trouble. You can't go to the Buffalo Gap anymore. BLTs. I like BLTs. It's just not a hearty enough sandwich for me. You know what I like to do with a BLT? I like to melt cheese with it. So you got the BLT with cheese. Now we're talking. Now we've got something. The Geeky says there are carts in Korea that sell these sandwiches that are over easy type eggs with some sauce on them. Not sure what type, since I'm usually blasted when I got them, but they are delicious. If I'm ever in Korea, I'll keep my eyes open for that. All right, guys, we've been going an hour and a half, and there's still two things we haven't done. So let's get to them. It's time for our precious moments from yesteryear. So watch your monitors and take this trip back through time to the 70s with me. That is the worst movie ever, but it did have Jessica Lange in it, and I think Rick Baker did the monkey mask for that. So, but yeah, that wasn't a great film. It did have a great movie poster with King Kong straddling the World Trade Center. But yeah, Jeff Bridges was in that. Charles Grodin. I mean, it was like some of the worst performances in all of their careers. But I believe it was Jessica Lange's first role, or first major role, and she was terrible in it too. But at least she got better. She aged like a fine wine. So, well, that kind of leads us right into what we've all really been waiting for. It's time to once again not find big. Yes. We're going to start off with an actual real animal video that's just kind of crazy, that I think kind of warm us up. There's really no controversy about this. This I stole from Dread Captures, so let me turn the volume off here. Now get a load of this. So a cop's coming up behind this vehicle that apparently hit a deer, but the deer didn't appreciate getting hit. So let's see what happens here. Here's the deer coming in. He tries to get in the car and get the driver. Look at this. The guy's got to like kick him out. It's like, get out of here, man. Now, I don't know if the deer wanted a ride or if he was trying to get revenge. But there you see him jumping up in there and trying to get in the car. Can you imagine? And Billy Tucci was there. He got out his bow and arrow and they had dinner. But there you go. So, and you notice that was a fairly clear video because it was actually a real animal. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Frankie. Billy Tucci is the driver, of course. Yes. So that's what a like a real trail cam sort of, that of course was a dash cam from a police car, but that's at least the kind of clarity we should expect, shouldn't we, from Bigfoot videos? Well, you're not going to get it on this next video. This is a video I call Bigfoot hoodie, and you will see why in just a moment. Why will this not? Oh, duh, because I'm hitting the wrong thing. All right, here we go. So guy's on his little, 4x4 thingy or whatever going, do, and he's got a trail cam on there because you often do on these things. There it is. Okay, now the guy in the video describes this as, look at this giant hairy thing that was caught on the periphery of this guy's four-wheeling thing he was doing. The problem is, this is the guy in the campsite over in his black jacket with his hood up. That's what it looks like to me. But the guy describing this video is going, oh, you can clearly see that he's a hairy beast and he's taller than any normal man. And you're like, I don't see any of that. It's like they're putting subliminal suggestions in your mind as you watch this thing. How do you even for a second think that's not a guy in a jacket with his hood on? And you're trying to sell that to me as Bigfoot. Come on. Citizen Ronald, of course, clearly real. Another Kelsey Shannon sighting. That's clearer than the deer video. Oh, my goodness. Randy Hall pointing out, of course, you can see his bare hand. That's a dead giveaway that it might be a guy in a jacket with his hood up. But hey, we got to push the narrative, right? All right, now here's one I like to call Australian Bigfoot because they claim this was shot in Australia. And yet, now I wish some of our Australian friends were here today because they could verify this. But now I've been to Australia and I've seen urban areas, Sydney. I have seen outback areas, the desert and so forth, Red Rock, that type of thing. And I've seen rainforest. This to me looks like none of that. So I question whether this was actually even shot in Australia. But here we go. Let's take a look at this and see what we can see. I love this clear picture they show of the guy supposedly took the photos, and then the photos are blurry as heck. All right, here we go. This doesn't look like Australia to me. And if it was, why would you go to a water hole where there's crocodiles, no doubt, in? Now, this Bigfoot has a gigantic beer belly. Look at that gut hanging out, man. Now, they even say on the narration on this that this is not as tall like a normal Bigfoot would be, but he's rather large. And is it a subspecies of Bigfoot? We can't even discover Bigfoot. And now you're creating subspecies for him, or is this a dude in a costume? It's a dude in a costume, and it's clearly not Australia because no dude in a costume would be dumb enough to go up to a freshwater area without thinking there might be a croc in there that's about ready to eat him. But I give this a B for effort, though. I like how he sort of hunches over, monkey-like, swishes at the water. Because that's what a Bigfoot would do. They just go play in the water. He wouldn't drink the water. You just play in it. I know he's washing his hands off, probably. Evil One says that is clearly CGI. You can tell from the movement. Bigfoot is called yowie in Australia. That's what he says when an alligator grabs hold of his foot, a crocodile grabs his foot. Yowie! Sequential charges, of course, Bigfoot's been eating well. Indeed, he has. Some person says a Bigfoot suit in Australia would make someone pass out, though. Okay, well, then I'll go with the CGI. You Scared Jody says crocodiles aren't in all parts of Australia. Yeah, but I'm not going to take a chance that, that I maybe got my directions wrong. Clearly a Bancroft. Some person says Bigfoot has hairy hands like Lopresti. Well, I have hairy hands more like a wolf man, right when he's in mid-change. Viewitis says that thing is supposed to have survived in hiding for thousands of years. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Birdman's going back and saying Rubens are the best. Sheeple Hunter, no proof will ever be good enough for you. Definitive proof will be good enough for me. In other words, capture one, find a dead one, find something other than blurry photographs. I need, of course, it's true. Bigfoots are born blurry. They travel interdimensionally, so they're always phasing in and out. Makes it difficult to get clear photographs. Okay, now what do you guys think of this? This I call dancing skinwalker. Dog's going nuts. Perhaps Bigfoot is outside. What do you guys think of this? I've got to say that his repetitive limited movement makes me think this is some sort of CGI loop. And why is he not moving his feet? Why is he dancing to the rest of the music? Why is this just an upper torso dance move? Why aren't the legs engaged? Why is my dog barking relentlessly? Geek Easy says Werewolf in London, best werewolf movie and has best transformation scene ever. I agree. I love that movie. And I just saw it last night. MPC Oasis says looks worse than Mars Attacks. Thank you, Frankie. No, it's just a dumb person. Green Laser. He wants him to go to the right. Of course. Oh. Sheeplunner says Obama. Interesting. He's doing a Buffalo Bill, says some person. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thank you, Frank. Says it's just it's just a dumb person. Yeah. Okay. I think. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Okay. So, yeah, I don't think too highly of this. Now, this one, well, you guys tell me, is this an actual sighting of the Slender Man? Let's see. Nice clear shot of the car in fog, but that's about to change. What's going on here? Whoa, what? Wait a minute. Oh. Slender Man standing in the middle of the road. Now, this guy allegedly is turning off the road to avoid hitting Slender Man. So instead of just going around him and keep going on the road, he just pulls into the field, and then we see out his rear view mirror, because that's what I do. I wouldn't turn and look out the window. I'd film it in my side view mirror because that's more dramatic and cool looking. So instead of staying on the road and going around, and he drives off. Okay. Let's look at this slowly. So he could curve back onto the road, but he doesn't. He goes here. Now he could look out the back of his window, but he doesn't. He gets a very Spielbergian shot in his side view mirror because it's creepier and more dramatic. But look at this. Tell me this is not. Look at how he walks. That's a guy on stilts, is it? Isn't it? It just feels like the guy's knee, his feet are right where that creature's knees are. And again, it could be a CGI put in there, but they didn't do the walking very good if it is. Citizen Rona, of course, can't Slender Man just go for a nice walk anymore? That was review, bruh. Look at him walk. That's a dude. Look, he almost fell over. That's a dude on stilts, is what that is. JW says, Aaron, pull up a picture of Manute Bol swimming and tell me he's not Slender Man. He was. He, of course, was a basketball player, 7'7", and yeah, he looked very, very bizarre when he was walking and stuff. Fake. Short arms too. That's the other thing I was going to point out. Thank you for bringing that up. He has these long legs, but he has regular sized people arms. It's a guy on stilts. But I will say this. I want to give them, I give them an A for effort. Because, well, I take that back. I give them a B. Because if they had long arms, I'd given them an A. But the fact that you got someone to go out there on stilts, got the costume made, to shoot this video, and they took a few steps without falling over, those guys are really trying. And so they're going to, but because they forgot about the arms being long, we'll give them a B. But that's pretty good on this show if you get a B for effort. Ryo Stew says regular guy on carnivore diet. Okay. All right. Maybe I can see that. Randy Howell says 6 more likes to get to 100. Geez, you guys, after all the effort, you can't even get me to 100 likes. That's all right. I forgive you. Well, folks, that's about what I've got for you today. I want to say before we depart, I want to remind you, Kit Carter, Planet Doom graphic novel. It just opened up a couple days ago. It's booming, doing really well. I want to keep that momentum going. I got a lot of people to pay on this campaign, so I want to raise as much as I possibly can. Look at that, 47,820, 432 backers. I'm going to get that to 500 here in the next couple of days. Would be awesome. But if you guys do me a favor, since you can't search this anymore, I think it's still up on Google, but it probably won't be for long. Spread the links for me when you're, retweet when you see it on social media, that kind of thing. You guys do a great job of helping not just me, but everybody get the word out on these campaigns. A lot of people are producing really cool books in this Iron Age independent comics gate movement. So hopefully this will just be one more added to that collection of really cool books. So if you haven't backed, please consider. You'll find the link in the description of this video. Also, you'll find Von Klaus's link to his campaign, Kataru Witch Hunter. So yes, we greatly appreciate your support. Well, there you have it. That's the show for today. I appreciate you guys joining me. Thank you so much for all the super chats. Thank you for your contributions in the chat. Of course, I couldn't do this show if you weren't here to suffer through it with me. So I really appreciate it, guys. And I know that there's other people streaming against me, and those of you who stuck it out, I appreciate that as well. So anyway, you guys hang in there. You got Kings tomorrow night. We got Professionals on Halloween night. Graham's hosting, so you know it'll be spooky. And then on Wednesday, Graybeards returns with, I believe, special guest Larry Stroman. I believe Larry's actually going to come this week to the show. So we're pretty excited about that. So a lot of programming coming your way right here on the old YouTube. And enjoy the rest of your evening. And you guys, thank you again and take care. We'll see you soon.